Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is August 24th, 2022, live here on Facebook. And I'll start my Zoom here at 6:30 this evening. Well, we're going to have fun tonight. I've had a lot of interesting conversations since last Wednesday night. And I want to thank everyone who has called me and shared their opinions and their concerns about the union. And I want everyone to know that I am not sitting back and relaxing. And I am fighting as hard as I can to retain my presidency for Local 1000. And so a lot of times people are concerned and they're saying, well, what is he really doing? You know, we need to see more leadership out of him. And I have said this religiously to everyone who wants to listen. I can't always give you all of my strategy on Facebook and on YouTube or at my website, createexcellence7437.com. I can't always do that. Sometimes you have to have the element of surprise. And I know that my platform over the years was based on transparency. And I'm still the most transparent leader Local 1000 has ever had. And it would be somewhat arrogant of me to say this, but you'll never find another leader like me who's willing to show you as much as possible. Good evening, and I'm going to say your name. Elizabeth Collins. Let me give you a shout out, Elizabeth. Elizabeth Collins supports me 1,000%. I see her on Facebook. She's on my YouTube channel, Richard Lewis Brown on YouTube, because my videos here go up on YouTube as well as my website. And I see Elizabeth Collins supporting me over and over and over again. She has not lost hope. And I want to say thank you, Elizabeth, and I want to acknowledge you in front of everyone. Some people who support me are quiet people. They don't vocalize it. They don't put things out. But sometimes they'll give me a phone call or an email. I want to acknowledge you as well. This has been a tough battle for all of us. We say in this great country, and I do mean a great country, and yes, we have character flaws, but this is still a great country, that elections matter, that our democracy is based on giving people a voice regarding their lives, either in the workplace or in government. And in the workplace, it's usually through a union, either a private sector union or a public sector union. Here in California, Local 1000 is a public sector union. And so people are allowed to vote every 3 years if they're dues paying members. Now remember, I've always said that making someone pay dues to vote is wrong in this great country. I see you, Kelly. Thank you. And so, making people pay money to vote is wrong. But currently, that's how it is in Local 1000. And that was part of my 10-point platform, was to let everyone vote in this union. So then you can truly find out who people support and who they don't support. And yes, I am working very hard. But this democracy is in jeopardy with Local 1000. And the hypocrisy of it all, and people don't like when I say this, is Local 1000 is known as a, quote, union that supports the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party says that we respect election results. But yet, this union, some of its leaders, some of its so-called leaders cannot respect the election that I won, and they cannot respect the decisions I made as the president. I'm still the president, but I'm going through this great turmoil, trying to create a new culture for this union. And the old culture is trying to maintain the status quo. And the old status quo is to always be involved in political activities that has nothing to do with Local 1000, but yet they manipulate you to believe that it does. And I'm going to show you tonight, and I'm going to start early here before 6:30. I'm going to show you this manipulation and this idea that, quote, now that they've tried to remove me, everything is perfect and that the statewide leadership are working together. That's a lie. They're not working together. And they do watch these videos. And when you see these videos go live, you may see, 20 people watch these videos live. But what they do, they go back later and they watch. And so if you go back a few weeks and you look at my video views, you're going to see 300, 400, 500 video views. Still not enough It's still not enough, but people are interested or they're threatened by me. Or maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. Anyway, tonight we're going to talk about a situation which is, wait for it. Are you waiting for this? We'll start with a joke. And then you'll see where I'm going with this. Did you know Local 1000 sent me to Africa? They sent me on a working vacation to Africa to see how they do things in Africa so we can bring some of their ideas from Africa, from a certain country in Africa, back to Local 1000 to help us negotiate a better contract for the next contract. You caught that, right? They sent me to Africa, to a certain country in Africa. I won't be biased and pick the West. I'll pick the East. I'll say Sudan. Sexy in Sudan. Here we go. So they sent me to Sudan to get some ideas to come back to try to see if we can help incorporate that in our next contract. How would that make you feel? I didn't tell you. I just went anyway. Now maybe I put up on Facebook to say, hey, I'm going to Sudan. How do you feel about this? Or maybe I don't even care how you feel. I just say I'm going to Sudan. Wish me well. But see, here's the funny thing about this. You know and I know that I'm not taking no trip out of the state of California to fight for you. The fight's right here in the state of California. The fight is to ensure we get a quality contract for the first time in Local 1000 history, which means a 21% pay increase across the board for everyone equally. No special salary adjustments, because that causes dissension and causes us to be divided. Geo pay, we got it for 4 counties in the last contract, but we need it for all these counties. And we need our COLA that we had many years ago. That would be historic. 20% pay increase, Geo pay, and COLA. But I don't have to travel to Sudan to get that done. I don't need the knowledge of Sudan or any other foreign country. I don't. I have enough knowledge and I have enough smart people in this union to educate me, along with the staff, to get this done. And to everyone who's running in these other different locals, I wish you nothing but success. And even though they're trying to kick me out of the union that I belong to, an election that I won that I wasn't supposed to win, I beat the odds. I want every person who's running in those other locals under SEIU, give it your all. And don't let what they're trying to do to me, trying to destroy me, don't let that affect you or your campaign. You dig in, and don't you quit. And someone said, well, are you offering advice to other people who are running these other locals? I don't have to offer advice. I tell people, find who you can trust. And you don't need 25 to 30 people in your ear. Find just a couple people you trust who will back you up 1,000% on good days and bad days, who are willing to accept you on your good days and your bad days. To those in those other locals who are running for office, give it your all. Now, everybody has my phone number, 408-207-2339. And I don't want no one to get discouraged. Not just in those other locals who are running for office, but anyone in this country who's running for office, just because they're trying to remove me from office over some meritless, baseless allegations, don't let that destroy your desire, your convictions to help others. Don't let that happen. My words are worth the weight in gold. I have never lied to you, Local 1000. Maybe that's another reason why they're trying to run me out of office. I don't tell lies. And we're going to talk about these lies they've been telling since they've been trying to remove me from office. Someone said, well, Richard, what have you really gotten done when they elected you president? You took office on June 30th, 2021. Somehow, everyone has forgotten that COVID situation and how this current governor who will win re-election, wanted to have everyone, every state employee, vaccinated. And Local 1000 stood up and said no, under my leadership. Local 1000 stood up and said no. But you forgot about that. So when they say that Richard didn't do anything, well, remember, I took office June 30th. They were coming to get me out the minute they announced that I had won the election. They were planning and scheming. You say, well, are you sure, Richard? Well, you just don't know how bad I want to run my mouth, but I got to hold off. You just don't know. You just don't know. But your spirit tells you that I'm not lying. Now, you say, well, Richard, sometimes you're a little tough to deal with. Well, maybe. I'm not going to let no one just run over Local 1000. Remember, I said I'm coming here under the direction of God, influenced by God, to make sure you have dignity in the workplace, to make sure that you have a substantial pay increase for all these years that you lost money under the furlough and the PLP. I see you. Give me 1 second. I see you, Darren. I've been sitting here to make sure of that. And so the evil ones are trying to remove me so that you don't have hope. And we're not going to have that. Now, it appears that right now that maybe they're winning in their eyes, but I'm still here. I'm still here because you're still here. I'm still here because how many of you continue to go to work and work in horrendous, working, hostile conditions under these so-called bosses? I see you, Susie. Thank you. You're continuing to go to work. Thank you, Marsha Sullivan. I'm calling people's names out tonight because I don't think people realize something. When one person calls me and says, keep going, Richard, don't quit, that inspires me beyond belief. One person. And when I see two, when I see three, that tells me that hope is not destroyed. And so when they were telling you that I was doing all these things wrong and I was spending money wrongly, that's an absolute lie. When you're the president of an organization, you have to do certain things that everybody's not going to agree with. And I'm going to show you the hypocrisy. And so when some people say, and even some black folks in this country who did all that Black Lives Matter talking, all that supporting, and there's nothing wrong with Black Lives Matter too, because we all matter in this great country. But when they did all that talk, some of these so-called black folks, and here I am going through a situation where some of this is racist and prejudice, now they want to say, don't bring that up. You know who you are. You know who you are. But yet, people outside the black community are saying, yes, Richard, it is racist. I can't say who's telling me this because I don't put people on the spot like that. But it's not just the racism, but it's also the politics. And they're like mixed together. Anyone who follows my videos, I say the same thing. They say, well, say something different. I'm always telling you something different. But those who say that I just keep saying the same thing, they're not listening. Because that's what commercials do. They tell you the same thing, but they tell you in different ways. It's called repeat messaging. That's what Local 1000 is doing right now with those emails they send out every couple of days. To convince you that everything is well in hand, that you don't need Richard Lewis Brown as your president. They're trying to manipulate you. And this is why I've always asked you. You got to talk to your coworkers and communicate with them and tell them that what they're doing to me is absolutely wrong. It's a coup. It's a destruction of our democracy because they didn't like the election results. They didn't like the COVID agreement. Remember all those attacks I would get? And they said, well, he's anti-vaccination. And then when I put up my vaccination card, they shut up. And I've been shutting people up every time, day in and day out. This is why they won't come on my videos and talk to me. Because when you have the righteous truth in you, anybody can come and attack you. It doesn't matter. What I said yesterday stays true today and for tomorrow. It's called righteous truth, not situational truth, not humanism. What they tell you may be true yesterday, but not true today. Because they're not speaking righteously from the Spirit to help you. They're not doing that. And so, even though I started early here tonight on August 24th, 2022, my name is still Richard Lewis Brown. I have not given up. And so when I made that joke about me going to Sudan to learn some things to help Local 1000 in the next contract negotiations, at 6:30, we'll go into why I joked, trying to add some humor to a tragedy that's going on right now. And these people who are telling you that they're speaking on your behalf and they're fighting for the membership, that is an absolute 1000% lie. They're not speaking for the membership. They're speaking for themselves and what they can get out of things. They're looking for all the financial perks. They want to fashion themselves as politicians. But yet the same politicians that they're smiling and sucking up to at the state legislature, starting with this current governor, they're on term limits. But yet, when I said we need to be on term limits for this union, they scoffed at me, these sometimes so-called wannabe Local 1000 leaders. These are the hypocrites that they are. Now, I never thought in a million years that I'd have to talk about telling the truth. These people in this union are not telling you the truth. Remember when they told you, and we're going to get to this point tonight about this trip, when they told you that I was spending money out of control, and they wanted to see the credit card receipts, and so I did them one better. I went all the way back into the past as far as I could, and what you found out was the former president had gone to Israel. Remember that $5,000 trip? And yet the former president, who's now running for a retiree seat on the CalPERS board, had given a gift. Was it the $4,500 and some dollar gift to her chief of staff, Margarita Maldonado? Do you remember the $1,800 gift she gave to the current president on the board of CalPERS right now, Teresa Taylor? Do you remember these things? But yet they tell you I'm the one who's doing something financially wrong. And I can't find an attorney. The attorneys don't want to touch this case. Even though I don't have any money and I'm trying to find an attorney, but the attorneys are too afraid of this political case because I'm going up against the status quo, the Democratic status quo in this state of California. But yet they try to convince you that I'm some type of black Republican. Well, when have you ever heard a black Republican tell you they're proud to be black and proud to be an American and that they are a proud descendant of the enslaved African? When have you heard them say that to you? You haven't and you won't. And yet, when I showed you my Democratic card, that I'm a Democrat, that wasn't good enough. See, my voting record is up on my website, createexcellence7437.com, from 2012 up to now. What other leader in this union can show you their voting record? They can't, and they never will if they could show it to you, because your voting record shows the people how you feel about situations. Social matters, financial matters. Every time a state legislature in any state, when they vote on something, they're going to be held accountable for how they voted. Same for the federal government. But yet, this union, because I'm not calling these board meetings right now, they're voting on stuff and doing stuff, and you have no idea who voted on what. And when you ask them for the minutes to see who voted on what, they don't want to give it to you. Because they are hiding from you the same thing they did in the past. You ask for a roll call, they take a vote. We don't want to do a roll call. These people have no accountability at all. Not at all. I told you we're going to have fun tonight. So when they have portrayed me as this controversial, angry, out of control, emotional black man, the truth is they're the ones who's controversial because they don't want to help you. They say they want to help you. So in a sense, they are politicians. They do a lot of talking, but yet they produce no results. And whatever results they do produce, believe me, they'll be the biggest benefactor of those actions that they're doing to help you. They say that I'm out of control. Really? Was I out of control when I fought for those jobs at CCC in Lansing County and now it's tied up in court? Was I wrong for doing that? As a union president fighting for jobs while under a signed contract. Now they tell you now that they're fighting for jobs. No, they're not. They're trying to copy every single thing that I do. Listen, I've taken too many phone calls, and I'm going to acknowledge some of these phone calls. Richard, you're copying everything you do. You say, well, Richard, give me an example. Okay. Remember I said, when I become president, I won't take the salary stipend? He said, he's lying. No, I said, I'm from Missouri. I won't take the salary stipend. And I won't sign off on the 3 VPs to take the salary stipend either. Well, you should ask the union, are the salary stipends being paid or did they eliminate it? If they say they eliminated it, if they eliminate the salary stipends and they're trying to take credit for it, that's an absolute lie. That's a credit to me. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just telling you the facts. Nobody campaigned as heavily as I did from 2018 and 2021 to get rid of that salary stipend. Now, you remember Anica Walls, that NTC group in 2018, they said they weren't going to take the salary stipend and then they ended up taking it anyway? Or did you forget that? Because she's lied to you over and over and over and over again. I don't know how many lies she has to continue to tell you. But some people like being lied to. And that's fine. But we're going to talk about overseas trips. And we thought that that trip to Israel was the last one. That wasn't the last one. And it wasn't the only one either. I wish all the truth could come out. All of it. All right, so at 6:15, we'll start the Zoom at 6:30. I think I started at 5:52 this evening. Now, anybody on Facebook? I see you, Marsha. Hold on a second. Anybody on Facebook that wants to come on, wants me to answer a question? I will. Wait a minute. I'm going to read this. Another reason why they're pissed is because you cut that money off somewhere, getting money more in the stipend than they were making in their year worth of working. Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's true. That is true. And that was in my campaign brochure, which ironically I have right here. And so when she's making that statement, if the former president, Yvonne Walker, if she had won, listen to this, if she had won, hold on one second here. This year, the former president would have been making in salary $60,119, Marsha. But that salary stipend, she would have been making $70,587. So you're right, Marsha. You're right. All right, I know I'm sweating. I had to turn my air off because someone says if I have the air on, you can't hear me as loud as I talk. If I have the air on in the house here, you won't be able to hear me. So you see me dapping my head. That's what I'm doing. All right. So anybody on Facebook that wants to come on and ask me a question, or you can put it in the text on Facebook, the thread, I will try to answer. Let me answer this question for you now. There's a person called Emma Goldman. Emma Goldman is on Facebook saying about some type of lawsuit or something about the union in $1 million. So let me answer that for you. I have been advised by attorneys to not talk about those lawsuits. To not talk about those lawsuits. So I'm not going to discuss it. And what Emma Goldman is trying to do, Emma Goldman, he or she or he, she, or whatever, non-binary or whatever that person thinks that they are, you know, they're trying to be sneaky and try to get me to talk about these lawsuits. But I've been advised by attorneys that I cannot talk about it. Now, here's the thing about Emma Goldman on Facebook. No one knows who this person is. I know who the person is. I'm just waiting for somebody to ask me. Emma Goldman does not work. Emma Goldman, that name does not work for a state agency. Because if he or she or he, she does, then ask them for their work email. But they're constantly on Facebook running their mouth. Now, there's somebody else on Facebook that runs their mouth too, but they say that for protection, they don't want to identify who they are. R.A. Joyce. Now, I believe that she really works for a state agency, even though she won't announce who she is, but she always wants to talk a lot. And I always have a problem with people talking a lot and you don't know who they are, but yet they know who you are. Because that's not fair. So, I want to address that Emma Goldman. She put that on my page, because my page is open. I don't block people on my page. And so people are like, are you going to respond? No. I'm going to do it live on video. She'll come back and watch, or he'll come back and watch. Because Emma Goldman, I know who you are, Emma Goldman. But you do a good job of trying to distract people to create this energy that I need to be removed from office. You're doing the best that you can. I get it. I get it. All right. Does anybody else have questions tonight before we get into this conversation about European vacations? I see you, Wendy, on Zoom. You have a question, Wendy? Okay. All right. So, hold on one moment here. Okay. Does anyone on Facebook have any questions they want to ask me live? All right. I'm going through these comments here. Wait a minute. I see a childhood friend of mine. Hopefully he's doing better. I see you. I see you. Okay. And I see other people on here as well. And like I always say, more people come on to watch these videos because they don't want me to see them coming on, because I'm going to call them out. Anytime Anica has come on here, I'll say, hey, Anica, come on, let's do a video right now. Let's see what you got. Because she's supposed to be the organizing and representation guru. But yet, she's trying to remove me from office. That's what she's trying to do. And a lot of people are wondering, why is that going on? Because that's been the goal of Anica Walls her whole career. She wanted to be the president of Local 1000, but she doesn't have the courage of her convictions to run for president. And I'll show you another example. She wants to be so involved in things that she has no responsibility to do. Remember, on my brochure, I said, create a single union membership class. Wait a minute. Yeah. Who all have the same voting rights and job stewardship regardless of paying status. So I want everyone represented by Local 1000 to be a job steward. And so I was making people job stewards, and then they were getting the training right away. Well, she didn't want people to be job stewards unless they came through her, so she could help build up her ability to get votes, to get support if she decides to run in the next election. So when I was saying, hey, let's do a training every week, because when people want to pay their money and they want to be job stewards, because we don't have enough job stewards, we're like below 20% in job stewardship. Let's show a sense of urgency. She didn't want to do that because she couldn't take claim for it. See, I've been holding off on saying that for a long time. That's why I tell people, you should watch my videos. Watch them at the very beginning, watch the middle, and watch to the very end. She doesn't want to do job training, stewardship training every week, because that means she would have to work. That means she would actually have to do her job. But she's too busy taking trips and wanting to be a politician. That's what she's doing. See, they can portray me any kind of way they want. But you know in your heart that Richard's not lying to you. Now, Richard may not always speak with that perfect, smooth, eloquent, reassuring voice. Hi, I'm Richard. Everything's going to be okay. No, sometimes Richard's going right at you 1,000%. And for some of you California people, you misconstrue that as being angry when I'm not angry at all. I'm just being serious with you. Don't walk up on me talking no foolishness. So, but there are other people in the union who act like they're your best friend, but they're not. They could care less about you. Remember when some people say, oh, I'm not looking for full-time union leave? Anytime you hear someone say they're not looking for full-time union leave, 9 times out of 10, they're lying through their teeth. They're lying through their teeth. I'm going to prove that to you. Everything that I say comes out. Now, I see a person who's asking to come on. Hold on one second here. Wait a minute. It looks like Bob Fine. So if Bob Fine is serious, put it in the text that you want to come on. And I'll bring you on. Hold on. Okay. If anybody wants to come on live with me, put it in the text so I know that you're serious. All right. So it's almost 6:30. But I've been talking about vacations and what has happened recently here in Local 1000. Now, I know game when I see it, but trying to articulate that to you to where you can understand it, that may be a challenge. Currently, they're trying to remove me from office. And you say, well, talk to us about the HR 1 and the lawsuit. And I can't talk about it. Those issues are confidential issues right now. Now, someone said, well, you know, that lawsuit is an open matter. Yeah, you can go to the Sacramento Superior website and read up on it in Department 27. Sacramento Superior Court, Department 27. If you want to read up on it, go ahead. You're right about that. Remember, I have not lied to you. I'm not misspending your money. See, when they're always accusing me of misspending your money and causing all this headache and confusion, I haven't caused nobody any headache or confusion. What I've done was reveal to you all the things they've done in the past so that you can understand presently how we have to prepare for the future. Remember how they're going to all these work sites? That wasn't their idea. I get reminded of that every single day. Them traveling to work sites was not their idea. I'm the one that told you when I get elected, I'm going to go to every work site. And I was going to work sites. People who invited me, I was going to their work sites. When they scheduled it, they set it all up, I went to those work sites. So now they're trying to copy behind me. Because the former president didn't go to work sites. If she did, she only went to select ones. I was going to all the work sites. Anybody who invited me, whether it was a work site that was for me, listen to me. With that work site or that DLC, that work site in that DLC was for me or against me, I was still going to that work site and I was taking on everybody. So when you see my videos when I go to work sites, you see people who support me, you see people who question me. But that's called life. When these people go to these work sites, you don't know what they're saying, but they'll put a picture up like everything is fine. That's an absolute lie. Why won't they put on video what they're saying and how they're answering those questions? Because they don't want to be responsible for anything they say. And they're not going to tell you anything anyway. You already see that on the Wednesday night calls that they did for a while, then they've taken a break. Because they said, well, we're going to these work sites. We can't afford to do these Wednesday night calls. All those work sites I went to, that I was still doing my Wednesday night calls, I didn't let you down. I didn't stop working. I'm just being honest. All these things that they're telling people about me, we have to get them out of the picture. That's an absolute lie. They say I was spending money in a fraudulent manner or this or that. Those are lies. I was giving you information. And every time I give you information, I give you more information. All those PowerPoints. Have they done a PowerPoint to tell you where they're spending this money at? Have they? Did they ever tell you about SBAC? The people who are going to be your bargaining people for the next contract? I brought all that on video for you. I bet they took a lot of that stuff down off the website. All that transparency I was giving you, because I told you I am the transparent one. These other people are translucent. Translucent, they show you a glimpse of what they want to show you. Transparent, I'm trying to show you everything that I possibly can without revealing our strategy. Have they told you about the strike fund yet? Have they even mentioned about, hey, we may have to go on strike after bargaining in good faith? But yet they go on Facebook and say, you know, I'm breaking rules. I'm not breaking anything. These people are really stupid. And I hate to be so direct, but they are. And they think that by them saying these types of stupid things, that you'll follow along with that. And I'm praying to God that you don't do that. Because it's ridiculous. It's simply ridiculous. So I started at 5:52. It's almost 6:30. I'll start the Zoom. And then we're going to jump right into this situation. This, quote, European vacation. Because I've been asked to talk about this. And I don't really want to talk about this. Because this is just standard, typical behavior of some, listen to my words, some Local 1000 leaders. You know, that's just what it is. So it's 6:29. I'm letting people in on Zoom. You know, I put my Zoom links up on my Facebook page, RL Brown, every week. So if you ever want to come on Zoom, you can, or you can just continue to watch on Facebook. And normally on Facebook, I start a little bit early. All right. So is it 6:30 yet? We're close. All right. So here we go. Let's let the clock click down to 6:30 so no one can say on Zoom I started too early. Hold on one moment here. And hopefully I've talked a little slower tonight. That's why I'm starting earlier, so I can take my time. And then at 6:30, I'll rehash what I've said, and then we'll get into this, because this is gonna be fun tonight. Because you're gonna see some humor, and I try to make things entertaining, because sometimes this stuff really upsets people. Because you're working your tail off, and you want your union to support you, and the union doesn't. And then you find out your union is trying to remove the president that you voted for, or the president that got elected by the voters. Now they're trying to remove him out because he's fighting for everyone equally. So here we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is August 24th, 2022. It is 6:30 p.m. Tonight, we're going to talk about how you can help me. You can contact me at 408-207-2339. I'm not giving out my strategy on Facebook or on Zoom. Just call me. I am doing things, and I'm fighting to retain this presidency that you voted me in for. Or for some people who've come late to the party, I'm fighting for you still. And we're going to talk about this vacation that someone took. And so here we go. Vice President, Organizing Representation, Anica Walls. She put up on Facebook, I guess, because I was getting text messages, that she took a trip to Norway and that it was going to help with the bargaining for the next contract for those behind the prison wall, CDCR. Let me be crystal clear. What she's doing, going to Norway, is not going to have not 1 ounce of effect on the next contract. You can't even enforce the current contract. You won't even train people. You don't even return people's phone calls half the time, or 90% of the time, from what I've been told. But yet, you're traveling to Norway while you're trying to remove me from office. Now, I know some people want to take action about this. And I would tell people who want to take action regarding her trip to Norway, then take action. Just because I don't take the actions that I take, doesn't mean I'm not taking action. So, all this came out, her taking a trip to Norway. It's on your money. Let me be crystal clear on this. You paid for it. And no, they didn't send me to Sudan. I was joking. And I wouldn't go to Sudan or any other foreign country. I stay right here in California because the fight for you is right here in the state of California. It's right here in the state of California. It's not in Norway or any other foreign country. It's not in any other state. Our business is right here. Local 1000. Right here in this state. That's our local. Now we got some branches or DLCs in a few other states, because California has some work agencies in a few other states. But we're right here in the state of California. That's where our focus should always be. Should not be on any other state or any foreign country or what they're doing. And when she said that she's going over there to learn their ideas, can you learn the idea to first represent your people? Can you learn the idea about enforcing the contract and getting as many people signed up to be a job steward? Can you do that? Versus trying to remove the president that was elected? Can you do that part? Oh, I'm going to dig into her chest tonight. Somebody's got to. I want everyone to talk to their coworkers about what she did. Let me read you something here. Here's my number to 21. August 21st. Here are my numbers again. 7437. So August 21st at 9:03 p.m. Because we know that 3 squared is 9. So the 21st is 7437 added together. That's the sum. At 9:03 p.m. And this is from a Billy Hall. He's DLC president for 744. So here he goes. Good evening, Local 1000 Board of Directors. I'm responding to this thread because it is the most recent. This is a trip sponsored by SEIU International. My understanding is Local 1000 is only responsible for the round-trip airfare to and from Norway. When VP Anica Walls talked with me about this joint venture, I told her I believed it was ill-timed and we should not proceed. When is it ever a good time? Okay, Dr. Guzman. So I was trying
sorry,
to.
I realized I was on speaker.
So listen. I got somebody's real reaction. So she beat me to it before I could say it. When is it ever ill time to go to Norway? Now listen, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Norway is a beautiful country. It's one of the European gems. I have no fight against Norway. But why is somebody from our union going to Norway on our money? Why? Why? There is no reason why. And so he said we should not proceed. Now listen to this next sentence that Billy Hall said, DLC 744 president. She vehemently disagreed and continued to plan solely on her own. Read it to you again. She vehemently disagreed. That's the real Anica Walls too. Vehemently disagreed and continued to plan solely on her own. That's Anica Walls in a nutshell. She doesn't care what no one tells her. She's going to do what she wants to do. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that, except don't do it on our money. If you in your personal life and you don't like what someone's telling you, yeah, do you. But here at the union, you spending money to go to Norway? Just stick with me on this. To address this subject for clarity, this is Billy Hall, I stood by my original position. Sounds like he's trying to follow me. When I say, hey, I am not doing something, I don't do it. When I say I'm not taking a salary stipend, I don't do it. When I say I'm not going to these illegal board meetings, and you see they come for me, I don't do it. Because I have integrity. Unfortunately, many of our Local 1000 leaders, many of them don't. All right, so he says here, I stood by my original position and refused to sign off on the airfares when my approval was sought weeks later. So Anica said, well, Billy, I want to go to Norway. And I'm going to do it anyway. But I still need you to sign off on it. Well, hold on. Wait a minute now. This is where it gets tricky now. So then he says, it is my understanding that this funding request was approved by David Jimenez. Now, David Jimenez is our VP Secretary Treasurer. But David and Anica, they on the same team. Remember they ran on Members for Transparency and Change? Remember that? So MTC had a whole slate that ran, and two of their people won. She won re-election, and David Jimenez won for Secretary Treasurer. So he's saying here, Billy Hall is saying, it is my understanding that this funding request was approved by David Jimenez in his role as both acting president and VP Secretary Treasurer. Acting president, because in their minds, they suspended me in their minds. And so he said, well, the court upheld it. This decision is not completed yet. This stuff is we're still battling this. So he's acting president and VP Secretary Treasurer. Well, hold on a second. So is he the acting president and the VP Secretary Treasurer? So he's doing both? I'm confused. I'm confused. Maybe Billy Hall's confused too. We know he is. And so then he says here, to clarify a misstatement by Latasha Brown, I do not have all the power she suggests I do. I do not approve Unilever. David Jimenez, as acting president, does. Now, legally, he's telling the truth there. Okay. In David Jimenez's role, he also approves expenditures as the Secretary Treasurer. Ooh, so who's watching David? Remember, they said there's supposed to be checks and balances. We got to keep the president under control. But who's watching David? Or maybe Latasha Brown is right, that Billy Hall does have all the power. But you don't know because you don't have the mini notes from March 5th. Okay. So this is what he said on August 21st at 9:03 p.m. But the key point is, trip by SIU International, Local 1000 is only responsible for round-trip airfare to and from Norway. Anica talked to him about it, Billy Hall. He said, no, it's ill time, you should not proceed. And she's like, no, I'm doing it anyway. And continued to do what she wanted to do. That's Anica Walls. If I told you that, you'd say, oh, Richard, you're being mean. Now somebody else says this about her. She vehemently disagreed and continued to plan solely on her own because she knew David, her friend, who ran on the same slate as her, would say, heck yes. Now hold on a second. So then they sent out an email to Local 1000 representative employees on Monday, trying to clarify. Call it the cover-up. Oh, they're covering up. I'm going to read you one sentence out of here. Here it goes. There is no cost to SEIU 1000 for our delegates' participation. But you just said she sought for you to pay for it. And you said you weren't going to pay for it. And then, to your understanding, so here's what Billy Hall tried to do. He tried to pass the buck to David Jimenez. Well, David approved it. Well, who's running Local 1000? Is it the acting president or is it Billy Hall? Nobody seems to know. Who pays their salaries? You do. All of us do. You pay my salary. But this is called the cover-up. And so it says here, the statement of one voice united SEIU 1000 delegation to Norway. Here's my thing. You traveling to Norway to figure out how they're running prisons over there in Norway, but you can't figure out Local 1000 how to enforce your contract and stop furloughs and POP. But you got somebody going to Norway on our money. And you say, well, we didn't pay for it, International paid for it. Really? Because we paid money to International. International is not paying for nothing for nobody's local unless they got money from that local. Because they're going to use that money to fund the expenditure.
That's right.
Why am I the only one that understands this? When I told you we pay $688,000 a month to SEIU International in DC, were you listening? And you're wondering why they're trying to run me out. I told you, it wasn't just because of race, it's because of politics too. But race and politics, they kind of get together at the party and they have a good time. Remember how my ancestors got here off of racism and politics. Why should we do the work? Let's go grab somebody, make them do the work for free. A mixture of race and politics. So when you hear people say, oh, it's not about racism, that's an absolute lie. When you tell your president, let's go back to this. But this is the cover-up. Now, anybody could have done a video and talked about this. But what people like to do, they like to put me on the spot. So if it doesn't go over very well, they can say, well, Richard's the bad guy. But if it goes over very well, then they'll demand that I didn't say enough. Because they're covering themselves. That's how the game goes. I guess that's politics, huh? But what I'm trying to figure out is, Billy Hall, David Jimenez, Anica Walls, what are y'all doing? Y'all don't have a clue what you're doing. Anica wants to go take a free trip to Norway and kick it and have fun. Under the guise that, international sitting her over there and they're going to study the Norway prison system. What kind of studying can you do? You can do that off of Zoom. You can do it in a book. But you're going to use our money, go to Norway. Listen to this. And I've never said this to anyone. Someone said on Facebook, show us the receipts. There's going to be receipts because she's going to be using that local 1,000 credit card. She's going to be wilding out, having dinner. The food, and look, now it may not be Italian food, but I'm sure the food in Norway is good food. I know the German food is good. But she's using your money to do all this. I see you, Darren. Give me a second. Because I know you want to dig into. But they're doing all this off your money, but yet the money that I spent with Local 1000 as the president doing day-to-day operations, they said I was out of control. You know doggone well, if they had sent me, if I'd have gone to Africa, to Sudan, or one of them African countries, and said, hey, I'm doing this for the union, it's going to help us, get a better contract, and I got my arms around some Africans, and we laughing and smiling. Oh, you would have had a heart attack. My God. I gotta laugh. I have to laugh. Because you know what? Listen. I know people outside the black community, and you can try to act professional and say you're not prejudiced, you're not racist, but we all got a little something in us about people from outside our community, and we all kind of look and say, hey, do you really like me? If I'd have done that, y'all would have flipped out. You would have deported me back to Missouri. You know that. And she's on Facebook bragging, because this is what she does. She's a very good liar. So she puts it on Facebook to say, hey, I wasn't trying to be secretive about it. That's her talk off. That's why they don't like talking to me. Because I'm going to beat you to your talk off before you can say it. And then I'm going to be thinking way out ahead of your next arguments that you're going to come out with. So she put it on Facebook to act like she's being transparent. No, because she knew it was going to leak out anyway. So she tried to get out ahead of it. It's called politics. So some of the board, I guess, didn't like that, and they were asking questions. Went to Norway. But yet, people complained that Anica doesn't do her job. She didn't return phone calls. But she had time to go to Norway. All right, let's go to the first hand raise. Darren, go ahead, Darren.
President Brown.
Yes.
All Local 1000 members. Good evening.
Good evening.
I kind of had a laugh listening to this because actually I was on my way home when you first started listening
Okay.
on my drive back, and I tell you what, there's some amazing things going on.
Okay.
And I hear there's a backlog of stewards trying to get in. So what are we doing with our stewards that are trying to get in if we're out globetrotting? information out there on Norway and how they've revamped their progressive restorative justice programs. There's quite a few documentaries, but you know, I don't know how much we're going to learn from a country of about 5.5 million people. I think that's probably maybe the size of San Francisco, maybe, last time I checked. Maybe a little bit, you know, a little bit more on the outliers.
Well, hey, Darren, wait a minute. Hold on. And then I'll let you go on to your next point about how much are we going to learn from a small country. Here's my question. Did Norway bring slaves to their country?
That is a question I do not know about.
Okay.
Well, how diverse of a population is Norway? I mean, I don't
Okay.
know, but I'm driving,
Ho-
so I can't look it up, but that's my first question.
Well, okay, so the doctor has beat me again, because what I was trying to get to, Darren, if my memory serves me correct, England, France, Spain, Portugal, and I want to say the Netherlands, if I'm correct, I could be off on that those countries imported slaves from Africa to other parts of the world, including their own country. Okay? Norway did not. Norway, as I call it, is a very prestigious country. So what can we learn from them? When they don't have, like the doctor said, we don't have a diverse population in Norway versus the diverse population we have in America with our system of racism that helped build this country. I'm sorry, go ahead, Darren.
Oh yeah, no. In fact, I kind of looked into a few documentaries and a few things since this kind of came up, and you know, Norway is a very good country with controlling their borders. You know, I don't want to get all sounding all conservative here, but they're a country that's very active on arresting and deporting foreign immigrants or foreign migrants. And they have a very active and strong worker visa program. But a worker visa program is exactly that. It's not a residency program. It's a worker visa program, and it's a very strong program, much stronger than that here in the United States. So it's kind of a deal where looking at this, and they do have a fairly strong union for the corrections officers there in the country of Norway. All 5,700, I believe, represented employees in that union for their whole country. So it's a fairly sizable local, I guess you could call it. But there's when we have much more urgent and pending items here in this union, when we have a backlog, we're trying to recruit members as fast as we can, which is a noble effort. But if we can't spin around and get Stewart on the floor, then what are we doing? Because those people are looking for representation. I mean, we have stewards that are doing a lot of work. We have people that want to be stewards, and we have our challenges. So why are we running around doing something else that is strategically not germane to our current needs? And it's just being simple. And this farce of saying that, oh well, we're not paying for it, National's paying for it. And like you eloquently stated earlier, National puts a bucket together of whose money comes in. And when it's time to take a quote-unquote action with National's not spending their own money. They're spending the money that's coming in from the locals that they put into a bucket that they say, okay, when it's time for us to do something that we want to do with you, this is what we got set aside. And we do that so we don't get in trouble with your local and piss them off. But guess what? It's our money. It's other unions' money as well. So regardless of them saying that National's paying for it, we're using union member dollars. Not just our dollars, but dollars from other representatives. And that right there, it should not stand, our leaderships, quote unquote, should be doing the right thing and declining offers like that, because there's strategically at this point nothing that they're going to learn that they do not already know. So it's, just seeing what I'm seeing right now and seeing and hearing from you the back and forth. I mean, it literally sounds like, when Irene Green gets back and when Anica gets back and whoever else went on the trip, this is going to be a race to see who can throw who under a bus faster. And I'll be honest with you, it's going to probably start at an airport in Norway. And it's going to be hysterical. It's going to be funny to see.
So wait a minute. You said that Irene Green went?
From what I understand, she's one that went, as well as a few others. And it's just, it's just sad because we're back to the same old same. We're back, as you say, status quo. And it is absolutely embarrassing. And, we're getting stuff from, our notifications that Sister Walker is running for CalPERS. We need to support our fellow union sister. And you know what? I don't know. It might be interesting to see another candidate find out that Ms. Walker provided a gift in a not too recent past to a current board member, or actually, I think, president of the CalPERS board.
She's the president of the board right now. That's correct. Teresa Taylor. That's correct.
And, and President Brown, I hate disparaging you, but when folks talk higher than what their knowledge base is, it really gets under my skin. And I'm really glad, and I would encourage people to go find that video of that audit that Ms. Taylor did, looking through the books. When you don't know in an accounting fashion, when you're confusing a debit with a debit, and you don't even know who your landscapers are, we got a problem. And I would encourage, folks to go find that video and listen to that mini audit of hers, because if that's how our leadership is, and that's where our leadership is in their capabilities and what they, and here's the thing, I'm not even a DLC board member, and yet I know a landscaping company when I see it and when I hear it called out and you're announcing the name, and you're going to sit there and go and try to make it big, like, oh, who's this money going to, Mr. Brown?
You know what? You know what, Darren? I'm glad you're reminding me of that, because we know that $1,800 or $1,803, for some reason I have that number memorized. $1,803 went to Teresa Taylor for a Napa resort, because when Yvonne Walker ran again in 2018, she didn't ask Teresa to run for Secretary Treasurer, even though she was the incumbent. She asked Miguel Cordova. So to make up to Teresa, she gave her that $1,803 gift to Napa, and she put Teresa Taylor on full-time union leave. Oh, it was all the way up to like the time I started, almost up to August of 2021. So I'm glad you're reminding me of that, because sometimes there's so much crookedness, cronyism, favoritism, whatever. And yet they're accusing me of doing things that are wrong, when I've always been upfront and acknowledged everything.
best way that they think they know how. And, to gullible people, there's some few gullible people that do accept it, but the people that are critical and the people that pay attention, we know, like you said as well earlier, we know a hustle when we see a hustle. And there is a whole lot of hustling that's back in style in the leadership of Local 1000. And it's embarrassing. And the thing is that we are here at this moment in time because there are supporters of theirs that push them to do this actively on the board because they themselves are looking for favors. They're looking for the union league. They're looking for them special voter projects that are coming up. They're looking for those opportunities to not have to show up at work and they can go and parade around and be a LARPer, on the union dime. And they're not doing anything to affect us as members and to fight for our contract. They're doing a whole lot for other people that are not members and local pet projects of SEIU International and SEIU State. And it's a complete disservice to the hard-earned money that us as Local 1000, when we pay our dues, our $90 a month that some of us are topped out at, that, hey, a lot of us can use that $90 a month. And just, seeing how quick they are to throw each other under the bus and then come out with a completely different viewpoint from what I'm hearing, it's unnerving. And it is troubling. And, my thing is we need to figure out, what we need to do to get you back in, because a lot of us that read the policy file and that we've read the corporate codes, there's a reason why they're pushing this case down the road, because they know that the further down the road they can push it, they're trying to minimize your effectiveness.
So let's talk about that for a second. Because people said I haven't taken enough action. When we were able to raise money and I did have an attorney, we ran out of money. And I realized that, people did the very best that they could to send me money, but they're financially strapped too. And so there was a question about, did I spend the money that was sent to me on the attorney? And I told people religiously, yes, I've never lied to anyone on any money. And so, I haven't really asked people again to send me money to retain the attorney that I did have. Now, there was a big argument about that $15,000 one-time offer that Local 1000 offered me. And that was just for the HR1 process. And they said, why don't you just take the money? And I said, no, because you're supposed to fully indemnify me. And what they were trying to do is just say, oh, we're just going to give you just enough money, and then we're not going to give you anything else. I'm not stupid. So they're not gonna treat me the way the state treats the union. You're not gonna disrespect me like that. I know my legal right. But yet they voted on the board to pay $42,000 for Billy Hall's attorney. The same person that's suing me, suing all of us as Local 1000, and suing International. So this is why I really wish that more people would watch these videos.
Exactly. And here's the other thing too, is I find it funny that the attorneys that are representing Mr. Hall are pretty adept at representing several SEIU affiliated entities out of Washington, D.C.
And so let me add to this. Anica Walls' attorney is being paid by our money. See, they think I'm stupid. Her attorney is being paid by our money. She can't afford to pay no attorney out of her pocket, not the way she's always complaining. Because there's more stuff that I'm holding back. She knows this too. That's why they're trying to do as much damage as they possibly can until I'm back, with my full powers. They're banking that they can pull this off. They can exhaust me, demoralize all of my supporters. And people say, well, we just have to move forward. No, you don't move forward off of corruption. You don't do that. And a lot of these same people who are saying we just have to move forward are probably belong to groups that are pushing for that January 6th, for that committee to do its job and hold somebody accountable for the actions that happened on January 6th, 2021. That's why I said these people are hypocrites, and you can catch them. But you just have to stay on it and keep reporting it. And so, the action is, what can people do now to help me? I want people to text me and say, hey, how can I help you, Richard? I don't have the money, but is there another way I can help you? Just text me. And if you
I
text,
definitely would encourage people to do that.
yeah, and if anybody who's texted me or who've called me and I haven't returned your call, I apologize. Call me again or text me again. I may have unintentionally looked over that text or that voicemail.
And I just want to close out with one thing.
Okay.
And, I want to I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist for a moment here.
All right.
I know everybody loves a good conspiracy. And actually, I'm kind of hoping that maybe David, Anica, and maybe Irene, and, I don't know, maybe Irene's husband might call me and tell me I'm wrong. But we'll see. But there's a faction at SEIU State that they look for useful idiots. And I think SEIU State saw the writing on the wall when they saw those votes get tallied. And, we've all seen those emails from back then. Thank you, Kevin Menninger. That there was an organized attempt to literally create so much subterfuge from the date that the votes were tallied to make sure that you did not some way, somehow assume your post.
So with that being said, I never saw those emails. I would love to see those emails.
I'm pretty sure there's some DLC folks that have them. I think I got some hiding somewhere that I came across.
I would love for someone to forward me those emails.
So in closing, it's a deal where I think, somebody at SEIU State found a useful idiot in Bill Hall. And I think somebody in SEIU State found a useful idiot in Irene Green. And basically, a deal was done in a back room somewhere that if they follow through with trying to remove you, that there would be definitely certain options on the table for them with their futures with SEIU. And that's my personal, I don't know how you would say, conspiracy theory.
Right. And so let me say this to you, Darren, because they'll say that I told you to call these people useful idiots. I would say that they're misguided and they're deceived and they're only out for themselves. I wouldn't necessarily call them idiots. I wouldn't call them idiots because, Billy Hall and Irene Green, these are intelligent people. These are not,
I don't disagree, but I'm actually, the term actual useful idiots
Okay.
comes out of the book
Okay.
that I believe the Communist Manifesto or
Okay.
I believe it was actually coined by Joseph Stalin.
Oh, okay.
So you find people within power and influence, and you use power and influence to create subterfuge and deceit. And I honestly think, that's just from my conspiratorial analysis, that that's what we got right now. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are so upset right now that they want to drop their membership. And, that's something that I tremendously want to discourage them folks from doing. It's still a matter of us holding on and holding on and trying to hold the line and make sure the right things happen for our local. Because I've got, my coworkers, the whole reason why I stay involved is I got coworkers where they're at, then I got coworkers that are single moms, I got coworkers that take care of their parents. They're making, underneath $65,000-$70,000 a year. And, we need to do something to make sure that their futures are accounted for. And, this whole shenanigans that I'm seeing from the board leadership is neglecting those vital members of our union in Local 1000. And that's all I got for tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for calling in, Darren. Let's go right to Jessica. Good evening, Jessica.
Hi, President Brown. I just have 2 questions. Did their family members go on this trip as well, like Irene Green and Anica Walls? And also, why would CDCR even listen to Anica? She doesn't have power, influence, pull over CDCR, so I'm just really confused as to why they even went on this trip.
All right, listen, Jessica has never called in before, so we're going to take our time and say, hi, Jessica, thanks for calling in. First thing, did your family members go? As far as I know, Anica's family did not go, as far as I know. If someone has proof that they went, I would like to see that. Because I'm not going to just lie on people. I don't do that. I don't think their family members went. I don't think. But if someone says, no, they went, Richard, please send me that information. Second thing, would CDCR even listen to Anica about anything she learned from over there in Norway? Your answer, Jessica, no. If they're going to do anything that the Norway prison system is doing, they've already decided that. So here's how the game goes, Jessica. CDCR, along with Governor Newsom, already know what changes they're going to make if they make any changes. And if they decide to go with anything from Norway, they've already talked about it, they've already talked to Norway, and they've already agreed on it. And so what they'll do is they'll send people from Local 1000, maybe some other unions, over there as a front. So that when they come back, they'll say, oh, we learned these things, and we think this would be great to implement. Here's where the trick is. And then the state will say, you know what, that's a great idea, let's do that. But the state had already agreed to it before they went over there. But they'll send them over there because SEIU International is supporting Gavin Newsom to be reelected as governor so he can run for the White House. And so they've already agreed on what things that they want to do. So it looks like Local 1000 is doing something for CDCR when all actuality is they're not doing anything. Now, I've never said that on video, and I've never said this before because that's something that's really heavy. But that's how the game goes when you're really running a sophisticated con. CDCR is not going to listen to Anica. I mean, did CDCR, do they listen when their people say, hey, you're working me too much overtime? Do they listen then? No. Did the state listen when we said, hey, we want to protect our money while under a secured contract, under a contract? No. So why would they listen now? Because remember, these Local 1000 leaders, they say, not all of them, but these ones at the state level and the DLC presidents, they say that the politicians are your bosses. I'm the only Local 1000 leader and statewide leader that tells you the state is not your boss. This is a partnership. It should be. Does that answer your question, Jessica?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to what she said. Did the family members go to Norway? To the best of my knowledge, they did not. Now, I could be ruthless right now and say, oh, the family members, they went over there too. And I can make a big old stink about it. And know doggone well in my heart that they didn't go. But it would bring all this attention to it because that's what a politician would do. They would blow this out of proportion. But you get this every day with the Republicans and the Democrats. They be trying to go at each other as hard as possible. So I don't think they win. And then the second part is, would CDCR even listen? And I told Jessica no. If CDCR and the governor, if they're going to do anything, they've already agreed to it about what they're going to take from Norway, the Norway prison system. So they send Local 1000 over there acting like they're getting this information, and they come back and they go into contract negotiations. They agree on this. But they had already made the agreement. Local 1000 didn't have anything to do with it. They didn't have no pull. They didn't have no power. You say, well, how would it have been different, Richard, if you was still in charge of that contract negotiations? We wouldn't be going to Norway. They would never asked. Maybe they would have asked me. I don't know. But I would have said, no, we're not going to Norway. And if they said, well, Richard, because the same way Anica told him that she didn't care what he said. Hold on. Here's the funny thing about this. She vehemently disagreed and continued to plan solely on her own. But did she file an HR 1 on him to remove him from office? See, this is something I've never said on video. I tried to give Anica Walls everything that she wanted. Every time that she asked for it. But the one time I did something that she didn't like, now she's trying to remove me from office. She knows it. The truth of God is not in her. And I'm not judging her. When I say the truth of God is not in you, I'm not judging you. I'm speaking from a righteous place. I am not trying to take your money or anyone's money. I'm trying to get you paid as much money as possible in a particular point in time for a period of time while ensuring you have dignity in the workplace. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, maybe the Lord will help her costs. Okay.
I did have one more question.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Isn't there some type of checks and balances in play? Because didn't you say that Bill Hall, did he say he didn't approve that?
So he said, I stood by my original position and refused to sign off on the airfares when my approval was sought weeks later. So he's saying he didn't approve it. He said it was approved by David Jimenez. Then on Monday, he comes out with a statement, him and David Jimenez, and they're saying that there was no cost to SEIU 1000 for our delegates' participation. This trip is entirely paid for by the One Voice. Well, the One Voice, hold on, let me get back to this thing here. The One Voice is supported by SEIU International. And our money that goes to International went to that One Voice. So they can say what they want to say, but that truth is not in them.
Because if Bill Hall said he didn't approve it, and then they just went above him or around him or whatever, then what's the point of even having a chair if he had no power?
So hold on a second. Jessica's digging. Oh, Jessica's digging. Now you refer to him as a chair. I don't ever refer to him as a chair because that's an illegally created position.
Oh, right.
Okay,
yeah.
but hold on a second. But let's get to your point though. When they tried to illegally create that chair, and they approved it on March 5th from the October 16th and 17th illegal meeting that they had, all the powers of the president got moved over to the chair. So any expenditure would have to be signed off by the president, by the chair. But he's saying that that wasn't the case. He's lying through his teeth. That's why they won't do videos with me. Because one of the DLC presidents called him out on it. She called him out on it. And so when he said, well, no, David Jimenez did all that. Well, David wouldn't have made a move like that without getting your approval. Because David doesn't want to get on your bad side because, remember, they're trying to remove me from office. So what keeps them from trying to do HR1s on each other to remove them from office as well? See, this is why these pictures that they take is baloney. They're Oscar-winning pictures, though, because it looks like they're working together, but that's an absolute lie. And that's why they won't put those videos up at those work sites, because you don't know what they're saying at those work sites. And you don't know if they're saying to different represent employees or dues-paying members when one's not around. I can guarantee you, they're at each other's necks. And remember, they brought International down here to help run this local. I've never said that really on video either. So International is saying, hey, we want to send Anica over there. And Bill Hall is claiming that he didn't want to do it. Billy Hall, as I call him. But yet they're helping you, Billy Hall, with your lawsuit against me to remove me from office, from off the board of directors, while Anica's trying to get me removed from within the union. Two different issues. So they have a joint interest, but yet they hate each other. See, that's politics for you. I'll tell you, I don't care. So this is all the internal stuff that, at least with me, I give you it all, and then you can decide how you want to roll with it. I'm not going to just say one thing on one person's behalf and then go against another person. I'll give you the whole story, and then you can decide for yourself who you want to roll with. But Billy Hall is lying through his teeth. And I hope they watch the video. Prove me wrong. Show us all the emails. Ask them, show me all the emails between you, David, and Anica talking about this overseas trip to Norway. That'll clear up all that because that's written documentation. I guarantee you they won't show it to you. You know, Jessica, you know what they say when your boss is acting crazy? Send them an email to your boss trying to summarize his or her behavior that is exhibited to you, and watch how they don't respond to that email, or watch how they try to respond and say it didn't happen like that. And so now you're in an email war because it's all used for documentation. So that's why when Darren Stahl was saying about they were plotting to remove me from office, yeah, where's those emails at? I'd like to see them.
Can you do like what's it called? Public records requests for emails or no?
I don't think you can do that for emails. Here's what some people look. Some people say they want to sue Local 1000. Okay. Some people say they're going to do an HR1 on the officers for their behavior because they say, well, they've done HR1 on you, Richard. We're going to do an HR1 on them to show that they're trying to remove you. But yet, when we file HR1s on them, they don't do anything. So everyone is doing different things. Some people are calling 866-471-7348 so that they'll have to have a memo of record of calling so that if it's ever subpoenaed, the phone records to our URC, our Member Resource Center, our MRC, then they'll see all those people who have called. So when people say, oh, I call the MRC, but it doesn't really matter, well, it kind of does, because they got to keep records of everything. And if they ever get subpoenaed where they have to submit that in court, then they'll be in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'm going to take my time, because you don't ever call in. So I try to give you more than what you expected. Because some things well, you're very welcome. Because listen, the people who don't call in, when they do finally call in, they have something to say that's been bugging them. So I try to give you more than what you asked for. Because some things I say, and some things I just told you I've never said before. Because I can't remember. But I thank you for calling in. Do you have any more questions?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I'm trying to follow Facebook while watching Zoom. The bottom line, Anica Walls should not have gone to Norway. That's the bottom line. Off our money, off her own money, it doesn't matter. Unless she's going to Norway with her family for vacation, then that's different. But she shouldn't have gone to Norway trying to get their ideas on how to run a prison system. Because as someone stated, as Jessica has stated, that's kind of, in a sense, outside her purview. That's what CDCR does. That's not our responsibility to figure out how somebody else is running the prison system and then come back and tell management. It's management's position. It's their responsibility on how to run it. But they have to get us to agree with what they want to do. And they can't just violate our dignity in the process. So this idea, we get these ideas, and then the state and CDCR is going to just say, "Oh yes, yes, yes." That's a fallacy. Whatever they decide, it's already been decided, and Local 1000 had nothing to do with that. No one's ever told you that before. But that's why I said everybody wants to be a leader, but when you can find a person who will tell you the truth from all the different angles. And you notice, I'm not trying to demonize Norway. I'm just simply saying, Anica, you going to Norway is BS. But that's politics for you. That's politics. And if you support SIU International, if you're wearing purple, because that's their color, purple and gold, if you're doing these things, you're supporting International and all the things that they do, whether you understand that or not. So when people say, hey, we have to purple up on Wednesdays, you're wearing their colors from International. But yet, were you purpling up and you were losing 2 days of pay for that whole fiscal period? Was you purpling up? Was you proud then? Were they down here trying to recruit members then? No, they weren't down here trying to recruit nobody. But they think you're stupid. I'm not stupid. And I don't care if I do have a college degree. I wasn't stupid without a college degree. And I really believe in my heart that 90% of this union are not stupid people. They're just trying to work and take care of their families. But you want to elect someone that you feel has your best interests at heart. Look, people say, oh, your videos are crazy, Richard. Did I steal your money? Did I steal your money? Did I go to Norway? Did I get a Napa $1,800 gift? Did I take a trip of $5,000 and some dollars to Israel? And I have no fight with Israel or Palestine. I have no fight with Ishmael or Isaac. Let me be clear on record. You know, did I take a $4,500 gift and go to Disney World or to Disneyland? But yet they tell you that I'm the one that's out of control. No. Okay, so it's 7:24. If there's not any more questions, you know what? We're gonna kind of cut this. We're gonna cut this within an hour for the Zoom, and I started at 5:52 on Facebook. The bottom line is there's hypocrisy in our union. There's liars in our union. There's cover-ups going on in our union. And that trip to Norway is a reflection of the lies and the hypocrisy and the cover-up. I'm asking people, if you want to still help me retain my presidency, reach out to me, 408-207-2339. That's 408-207-2339. Reach out to me. You can email me, richard.brown7437@yahoo.com. Please don't lose hope on Facebook. Thank you for coming in on Zoom tonight. We will get through this. This is not easy. I'm going to repeat this to you. This is not easy what we're going through. It's not just me. All of us are going through this. Because there's a coup that they're trying to complete. And we're not going to let these people get away with this. All right. I am Richard Lewis Brown. Today is August 24th, 2022. I want to thank you for your patience and your time tonight. I'll see you next week. Good night.